Hello everyone, today I'm going to present to you Legendary Valor, a mobile MMO strategy game in which players take control of one of 5 playable races, each with its own unique warriors and backstory. Created by Durquoise Dwarves, the game takes place in a land where years of conflict and turbulent relations has led to the races of the Tengu, Merfolk, Kitsune, Nord, and Hobgoblins to waging all-out war against one another. As the game begins, players will choose one race to take from humble beginnings to powerhouse warlords that dominate the world of Terraland. Because play will take place over long periods of time, players will be able to issue orders ranging from construction of buildings to deployment of troops during combat, making Legendary Valor accessible to both casual and hardcore gamers. In order for players to become invested in their civilization as it progresses, the decision to create 5 unique races was important to the Durquoise Dwarves team, enabling players to develop loyalties to each race, further immersing them in the gameplay. By creating a new and unique approach to building and unit creation, players will not only have to undertake managing their bases as they grow, but will also have to employ forethought in their decisions if they hope to be successful. Because of Legendary Valor's mild violence and calculated gameplay, an audience of teenage to adult will be the target demographic. This will allow the necessary strategy and combat-oriented nature of the game to remain challenging while still accessing a large audience that can be engaged and learn as the game becomes more demanding. In order to reach the largest audience with Legendary Valor's unique creation system, the App Store is the target platform. Legendary Valor's combine mechanic is implemented through the merging of 2 base buildings to create advanced buildings that create stronger heavy units. This is incorporated with the write/draw mechanic, as players must draw the new advanced building, in turn combining 2 selected base buildings and resetting a global cooldown on building creation. Certain advanced buildings incorporate the modify and undo mechanics by producing units capable of applying conditions to enemy units and removing conditions from allied units. Implementation of the right draw mechanic brings a unique form of unit and building creation to Legendary Valor. In order for players to create units and buildings, they must draw the item they wish to create. Depending upon their accuracy, they may be rewarded faster construction speed or additional units. This distinctive mechanic incorporates the modify, combine, and undo mechanics by being integrated with each of the implementations of those mechanics. When choosing to create units, a local cooldown begins tied to the building creating unit. When constructing buildings, a global cooldown begins and halts the player from creating other buildings until the global cooldown ends. Implementation of a modify mechanic is executed through particular heavy units and their ability to apply conditions to enemy units. This mechanic incorporates both the combine and undo mechanics by being accessible only when a player gains access to the heavy units that are capable of applying conditions as well as removing them. To modify enemy units, the player will select the condition-capable heavy unit and then choose which enemy units to attack. The undo mechanic is implemented through the use of a special heavy unit that allows a player to remove conditions that have been applied to their allied units. This mechanic incorporates the modify and combine mechanic by only being available when a player is able to produce particular heavy units that are capable of removing conditions applied by their enemies. The win-lose mechanic is Legendary Valor's in-battle condition. A player is defeated when their garrison's headquarters or 75% of their current assets are destroyed. Upon winning a battle, the player is awarded trophies dependent upon the strength of their adversary. This is incorporated with all other mechanics, as it may not be met unless the other mechanics are utilized. The secondary mechanics of Legendary Valor are combat and time. The combat mechanic will be implemented when one user attacks another user's garrison in an attempt to destroy their enemy's headquarters. The time mechanic is implemented through the use of cooldowns placed upon construction of units and buildings, creating a game that is engaging and demonstrates to the user the importance of time while building an army. Legendary Valor is similar to other mobile MMO strategy games such as Clash of Clans, Dwarves, and Game of War. Combat and in-battle conditions as well as player advancement are handled much the same way as these games, but what is unique about Legendary Valor is its core mechanics. In order for players to create units and buildings, they must be drawn by the player. Depending upon their accuracy of the drawing, they are rewarded faster construction, more units, and access to new units. A basic user interface will relay all relevant information to the player while still sustaining a large amount of screen real estate to highlight the game's art. By creating independent UIs, whether a player is engaged in battle or building their garrison, the interface retains a high level of usability and intuitive control for the user. By displaying the minimum amount of relevant information, players are able to remain aware of the happenings in their base of operations as well as what unfolds during combat. After choosing a race, players are rewarded a headquarters, which remains their garrison's center of operations. When selected, the player may choose to create worker units from their headquarters, which are then consumed in creating other buildings. This acts as a new unique form of gating to hinder player progression, as well as a new form of resource management. Just as players must draw units to create them with other buildings, they must also draw the worker units when selecting the headquarters. Each race's different units will consist of specific color schemes to keep them readily recognizable at a glance, while also allowing each unit to be unique in its appearance. This will create ease of use while players navigate their ever-changing civilization and army while remaining ever vigilant against the encroaching enemy forces. As Legendary Valor has evolved, so has its mechanics. As the game took shape and became what we see now, certain mechanics such as steal and disperse were removed and the new, more unique draw and undo were added. With these changes in mind, the team at Durquoise Dwarves also decided to change platforms from PC to mobile. The change of platform also became apparent as combat changed from a real-time strategy to that of a mobile MMO with global and local cooldowns. When first implementing the new mechanics, Durquoise Dwarves realized that their initial implementation did not gate player advancement and made aspects of the game available too quickly. In order to combat this, the team instituted the unique resource of builders being consumed when creating buildings. By creating larger worker prices on higher level buildings, player advancement was once again scaled back and the new mechanics worked as a well-oiled machine. The new Legendary Valor aims to be the next big mobile MMO strategy that will challenge players, keep them engaged, and allow them to develop loyalties to their chosen race. With innovative unit combinations, engaging battles, and tactical army deployment, players will continue playing for years to come. By creating mechanics that players are familiar with while adding new, unique mechanics, Legendary Valor will create a new and exciting experience for strategic players worldwide. Thanks for watching.